Ever since human beings arrived in Sweden, there has been interaction between forests and people. Forests were initially used for hunting, to provide fuel for cooking, and as a source of raw materials for dwellings and other constructions. Today, Sweden accounts for 6% of global sawn wood production and 4% of world paper production. In the national economy, forest products give a big positive trade net. Overall, the present state of the Swedish forests is good. Growth exceeds cut by about 30%. The regenerations are in good shape, and most of the young and middle-aged stands are properly maintained. Forests represent a truly renewable resource, providing a number of important products and services based on a process involving the sun, water, carbon dioxide and nutrients. Compared with almost all other means by which humans obtain commodities, forestry and forest industry should be preferred from an environmental point of view. We will soon have the pleasure of meeting our client, Sätra Group, the largest wood product company in Sweden, and our local dalkia representatives. But first, a short description of the project scope, beginning with a description of the process. The raw timber, in our case pine, arrives at the sawmill by truck. After measuring, the timber is debarked and sorted by dimension and quality. The timber is then sawn and prepared for drying, which is a process that continues for about 2 to 7 days. After drying comes cooling, checking and cutting to correct lengths. Finally, the sawn timber is packed, stored and distributed. Out of 1 cubic metre of raw timber, about 50% will be left for distribution. The rest is waste, divided into wood chips, 30%, bark, 10%, and sawdust, 10%. The most critical part of the process is the drying phase. It requires hot water of high and constant temperature, available more than 7,000 hours annually. For the production of hot water, it's preferable to use as much bark as possible and to sell the wood chips and sawdust on the external fuel market. In the actual project, our client has a need for increased heat capacity linked to increased production volumes. The existing energy plant is old. It can't meet the increased demand and isn't properly designed to burn wet fuels. Today, it's mainly fueled with wood chips and/or oil. The client has no wish to invest in or operate and maintain heat capacity. Against this background, Dalkia has been awarded with a contract featuring funding, design and building of a new energy plant and operation and maintenance for the coming 15 years. Thanks to an energy-efficient and environmentally friendly solution using renewable and wet fuel, bark, Dalkia can ensure Sätra's optimized technical, financial and environmental performance. Dalkia's plant will be dimensioned for a top load of 16 megawatts, producing between 80 to 120 gigawatt hours of hot water annually. Dalkia's first challenge is to ensure that the building costs of the boiler ends in line with the calculations and that all performance demands are met. This is done through professional project management and purchase, close cooperation with the client and the boiler supplier, but also through extensive use of Dalkia's own competence. Besides this, the costs of the plant during the next 15 years are highly dependent on how well Dalkia operates and maintains the boiler. The key success factors are availability, which must be at 98.5% of the calendar time when drying is supposed to take place. Efficiency, which must be held between 84 and 89%. The use of oil for backup, which should be lower than 3% of the total heat production, and NOx emissions, which should be around 50 milligrams per megajoule added fuel. All this requires professional staff for operation and maintenance. And now over to a short interview with Sätra Group CEO Kent Torvald.
Sätra Group is the largest wood industry company in Sweden, and we produce about 2.4 million cubic meters of softwood. And the main challenge that we have is that we want to increase the number of value-added products. About 70% of what we produce in Setra is based on pine, and Skinnskatteberg sawmill is the leading sawmill when it comes to premium pine production within the Setra group. In the near future in Skinnskatteberg we are about to invest in new heat capacity in order to be able to increase the production. We have a lot of investment plans, and we always have a discussion internally if it's possible to outsource areas that's not in the core area of production. And when it comes to energy supply, we think that it's a good area to try to seek for external partners. In the end of on this project, we had two competitors that was qualified to deliver this project, and one was E.ON and one was Dalkia. When we choose partner for this kind of long-term project, it's important that it's a reliable partner, and that's the main thing. Why we choose Dalkia in this project was that they have the most favorable offer, and we think that they can be an interesting and developing partner for a couple of years from now. And it's also interesting for us to have a new competitor within this market. That Dalkia is a new player, but as they have a reputation in other countries in Europe that we can rely on in this project. In this kind of project, it always ends up that it has to be an interesting economic solution. But very important also is that we have a good team. And we think that the Dalkia team was very professional, and that was one of the most important parts in the end of this process.
And now some comments from Dalkia Industry Partners President Mikael Jonsson.
We came in quite late in this process, and we had a chance to convince the client from top management through purchase down to operations that Dalkia is a very good alternative to the already established energy companies that Setra usually works with. And I believe strongly that our belonging to a European market leader in energy service, Dalkia, and also our very strong technical competence in Sweden helped us a lot in this respect. And finally, we managed to find a way to build the new boiler plant in a very cost-effective way to an attractive price. And this thanks to cooperation with a boiler supplier, but also through use of own competence and also subcontracted competence in a good way. It's the first significant result from our strives to develop our industrial platform in Sweden into Dalkia's core business. And this means that a new market is opening to us, and we are now recognized and welcome as a new alternative to the old energy companies that has been dominating this market for several years. And furthermore, we have developed a straightforward technical solution and a standardized business model, which is very easy to implement for other clients in this forestry sector. And finally, we also increase the use of our own competence just to support the clients with a very attractive price and also to offer to our own staff personal development, which is most important.
For us here at Dalkia Industry Partner in Sweden, this is our first P1 project, and we will have a well-representative building and a good boiler function. It's also important for us to show our competitors here in Sweden that we have something to count on the Swedish market. We use our own competence for the electrical design and also for the mechanical manufacturing as the boiler top. We use subcontractors for the ventilation, the wastewater system and the water system, and also for the building itself, and of course the boiler. Setra, our customer, they make all the concrete works.
This is the first project of many possible within the forestry sector. The market potential in the Nordic countries is significant. Only the two leading wood product industries in Sweden and Norway represent a potential of about 40 million euros per year within energy supply. One of the specialities of Dalkia Sweden, process maintenance, represents a huge additional potential and makes Dalkia even more attractive. Thanks to the successful development together with Setra, Dalkia has taken a big step closer to this potential. And furthermore, Dalkia has been recognized as an attractive alternative to the three big energy companies.